Hey, my name is Major Geoff Irving. I'm a judge advocate in the United States Marine Corps, helping recruit the next generation of Marine Corps officers and Marine Corps judge advocates. I decided I wanted to be a judge advocate when I was in college. So after college, I commissioned and went straight to law school. After law school at the University of Iowa, I came on active duty and served for 8 years as a judge advocate. I really like the Marine Corps Judge Advocate program because it allows you to be an unrestricted line officer. An unrestricted line officer means that you can fill, one, your provisional rifle platoon commander, so you go through the basic school and understand all the basics of infantry tactics, and then go through the same training pipeline as every other Marine Corps officer. So that lets you build a strong camaraderie, both with your peers and with the commanders that you'll be giving guidance to. But also, it broadens your career in the military so that you can fill jobs outside of specifically legal jobs, and many of the other services don't have that. Yeah, the first step is to find the officer selection officer for your college or for your law school. Every law school and every college in the country has a Marine Corps officer selection officer who is the first and main point of contact to becoming a judge advocate in the Marine Corps. Yeah, that's a really important issue, especially for lawyers coming out of law school with debt and looking at comparable civilian options in public service. I categorize Marine Corps Judge Advocate or service as Marine Corps Judge Advocate as public interest or public service law. So if you look at reports like U.S. News reports for 2021, 2022, graduates across the spectrum of law schools tend to make between $60,000 and $70,000 an annual salary, and then that entire salary is taxed. In the Marine Corps, you'll come in, you'll get constructive service, where immediately upon being accredited as a judge advocate, you'll be promoted to O2 or first lieutenant, and then quickly thereafter become a O3 or captain. At that level, depending on where you're stationed around the country, you're looking at between $85,000 and $100,000 within, that's 2 years. This is one of the biggest reasons why I love the Marine Corps. We're a littoral force and readiness. Littoral meaning that we need to be close to water, we need to train on water, we need to train from ship to shore and how to get our forces ashore. That means crossing some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. So our training areas in Southern California, in coastal Carolina, and in the tropical island of Okinawa have some of the best training areas and also are some of the best locations to be stationed in the world. As a judge advocate, your first tour will center you around gaining experience in litigation. So despite whatever ancillary billets or other jobs you have in your first tour, you will certainly have experience in criminal litigation. Once you get to your first duty station, you're largely working a 9-to-5 job, with very notable exceptions. All right? So if you're not deployed, if we're not in a wartime scenario, especially as a judge advocate, you have, say, a caseload. So you're working your caseload and you have trial weeks and non-trial weeks. So if you're in a trial week, you might be sleeping in your office, but if you're not, then you dictate your own schedule. As an example, if you're stationed in Southern California, you wake up by the beach, you drive into work at 0809, you work your hour, go to lunch with your friends and work out, and then you go back home at night. All right, so you dictate your own schedule, you live in your own apartment in Southern California, and you have a social life outside of working hours. And so the stereotype of Marine Corps is the first thing I want to break on what the day-to-day life actually looks like. This is one of the biggest sells for the Marine Corps Judge Advocate program and for becoming Marine Corps Judge Advocate. I talk to attorneys all the time in corporate practice or commercial practice or in corporate litigation. You're never going to see the courtroom in those, right? So we go through all these oral advocacy skills, we gain these skills in law school, and we never get a chance to actually practice them. The Marine Corps, as one of the most litigious branches, offers opportunities to flex those muscles and then build a lot of reps very quickly, talking to a panel, talking to a judge and jury, and understanding how the mechanics of the courtroom work. So much of the emphasis is on criminal litigation, but you will be guaranteed to do at least 2 jobs. And these can include a number of different legal practices, from administrative law and all the Title X regulations that govern military operations both abroad and at home. You could be doing civil legal aid, so working in a legal aid clinic and really running your own practice at whatever base or station you're assigned to, serving all of the military members as well as dependents and retirees in the area. And this can be a very robust practice where you govern your own caseload. Or you could deploy abroad and advise commanders on all of the international regulations that we need to execute combat operations. One of the little-known paths in the Marine Corps is coming into the Marine Corps and as a judge advocate and doing 1 or 2 tours like me, and then having the opportunity to drop into the reserve component and broaden your practice and your career. So I currently practice in federal regulation in Washington, D.C., but I also have a reserve job with the Marine Corps trying to push this message of all the different opportunities that the Marine Corps has. So I have essentially 2 parallel career tracks that complement each other. So I can advise commercial entities on federal regulation and then step into a uniform in the Pentagon to execute that policy. So it's a really helpful way to build a career over the course of your lifetime. So we want applicants who have skills, who have oral advocacy skills or legal writing skills to join our service. The requirements for the Marine Corps Judge Advocate program are that you must have a JD from an ABA accredited law school. You must be certified to practice in any state or territory in the country. And then as a minimum threshold, academic threshold, we use the LSAT as a bar, so a minimum LSAT score of 150. But then it's a competitive program, so we look to GPA and other accomplishments if you've been practicing for a while to gauge applicants' strength to become Marine Corps Judge Advocates. The initial training pipeline to become a Marine Corps Judge Advocate involves first meeting with your Officer Selection Officer, your OSO. They'll train you and get you ready to go to Officer Candidate School in Quantico, Virginia. So that 10-week program is very strenuous military training, and it should be. Because that's when you're earning the title Marine. That's a training school that every Marine Corps officer since Chesty Puller, for the long history of our Corps, has gone through the hills of Quantico to earn the EGA, the Eagle Globe and Anchor. After OCS for 10 weeks, you'll go across I-95 to the basic school, which is the best military finishing school in the world. And that will make you a Marine Corps officer. There's often a perception of attorneys, right, that your profession is going to be rather dull. You're going to be bound to clients who have demands. You're going to be bound to the billable hour and a desk under fluorescent light. The Marine Corps gives you a great option to both exert your legal chops and then also to pursue a lifestyle and a career that takes you to really exciting places. So you get to practice law, help Marines and sailors at home, but then also talk to commanders and our warfighting organization and the whole of U.S. government and how to employ forces and how to use all the assets that our nation has according to international law and convention to carry out our nation's interest. Semper Fi.